Hi everyone, Kaz here from Lertazal, and today I'm going to show you very quickly how to make paper beads. And these are great if you want to use them as charms for your junk journals or whatever it is you're doing. You can also make people make jewellery out of them. I'm not a great jewellery maker, so I don't tend to use them for that. But here they are, and this is what they look like when they're finished. And these are made from simple strips of paper or card, anything like that, you know, that you've got lying around. So this is what they look like after you've rolled them and before you've glazed them. The width of your paper strips determine the length of your bead. Some people go to great lengths of using templates, so they get a certain shape bead. Excuse me. I tend to just use scrap paper or card that's laying around because I like my beads. I use them for charms and for my junk journals, really, and add them to my boho beads and things like that. So I don't really go that fussy on the measurements and the shapes and so on. If you triangulate them, go to a narrow point, they end up like quite flat and oval. These will probably just end up like that, like this barrel one. We'll just see how it goes. Now, this is a tool that you'll probably find is quite handy. I bought this on Etsy from a lady that goes under the name of Squeaker Chimp. I will link you to her in the description box. She has, I bought a set of 3 and I tend to use this. This is the middle one. I tend to use it the most. Excuse me. Excuse me. I always have a pair of tweezers on hand, like old ones that you don't mind ruining. A couple of needles. That's a 3 3/4 mil. I think that's a 4 mil. Anything really. This we'll use at the end when we come to glaze them. I'll show you a quick and easy way on how to glaze them. You'll need some tacky glue, and I'll talk to you about what you need for the glazing when we get around to that. So to start off with, I'm going to use this strip of card here. So this tool has a groove. It's circular, hollow, and has a groove. So you will want to slide the paper in. Now, this can be a bit tricky because if you don't have it quite firm, it will just, you know, it won't roll tight. So I tend to do that. Press with your thumb here, like so. And I'm pressing with my forefinger here. Turn it round, roll it, pull it straight. Now try and roll it fairly tight, not too tight, because you won't be able to get it off the tool. And you keep going like so. Keep going. I sometimes flip it over so that I can make sure that I'm rolling on track here. It doesn't really matter unless you're extremely fussy about sort of how your beads turn out. The shape I'm talking about. Okay, so we've come to the end. And you'll need a little bit of tacky glue. I just use my finger for this. It's probably a bit much. Just roll it like so. Press it for a second or two. And now we want to get it off the tool. So it comes off like that. Give it a bit of a squeeze, and you've got a perfect barrel bead. And you set that to one side and you let it dry. And we'll try another one quickly. This is bits of paper that I did some jelly art printing plate yesterday, and some of them didn't turn out too well. I just used ordinary paper for demonstration purposes and normal acrylic paint, and I've just cut off some random strips lengthways. It really doesn't matter how long. I mean, obviously they need to be at least this sort of length, which is about 10 inches. And this one goes slightly in. So let's give this one a go. Slide it into your tool. Hold there with your forefinger. Press with your thumb quite firmly. Give it a couple of rolls. I'm going to flip this one over so that we're now rolling from this side, and you can see that you've got your edges in line as you roll. Because this one goes narrower, it will be a different shape bead, I think. I never really know until they're finished being wound. You guaranteed a barrel bead like the one we did first when your strip is completely equal end to end and doesn't narrow or anything. This tool is very handy. You don't have to have this tool, but it does make life easier. So we're coming to an end. I'm just going to roll that a bit to sort of soften the paper a little bit. Soften the fibres in the paper. Just makes it... Right. Dip your finger in the tacky glue. Give it a twirl. Twirl it around a few times. And if you see there, we have a little bit of a variation on the barrel bead because it was going slightly narrower down one end. Okay, so we take this off and we leave that to one side to dry. I'm just checking this one. That seems pretty good. This is great fun, and you can do this just sat watching TV. It's a great way to get rid of strips of paper, especially if you're into making junk journals, because if you're anything like me, when you're doing your tags and your pockets and, you know, you're always ending up with strips of card or strips of paper that you just really, I know it can be recycled, but sometimes you've got a great design like that on it. I mean, that was a rubbish stamp yesterday, and today it's making a really nice bead. I'll do one more for you to see. I think we'll do this one and see how that turns out. I'm just going to put these to the side. So once again, you get your tool, you slide it through that gap there, press it with your forefinger and your thumb. Give it a roll slowly, add a bit of pressure on there. So you've turned it a couple of times. I flip mine, you don't have to. You literally can do this just watching TV or a video. Or if you, this is a great, I found this is a great thing to do when, you know, some days when you wake up and you want to create something and you're kind of stuck in a creative block and you just don't know what to do or you don't have any inspiration. but you'd still want to create something, this is perfect for that. And plus you get some nice beads at the end of it. Some more sticky glue. Give it a whirl there a couple of times. Keep turning it until it adheres. Squeeze it together if you've pulled it off and a little bit comes out. And there we have another bead. Okay, so we're going to pop those to one side quickly. I'm just going to show you how I glaze my paper beads. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and there's a lot of tutorials out there on it. This for me is, I think it yields the best result for me. You know, I'm not one to use varnishes and things like that, but I use Melt Art Ultra Thick Embossing Enamel. I use the clear one, and you'll need a heat tool, and this is where your needles will come in. Yeah, my heat tool is being well used. Okay, so please excuse the sound of the heat tool when I start using it, but it's just to demonstrate. Oh, which ones shall we do? So I've chosen two that I made a few days ago and didn't get around to glazing. Pop it on the needle. Whoops. Typical. No, that bead is too loose, so I'm going to I've got it on the tweezer barrel. I'm just looking for a paintbrush. So we put some glue on here. Don't overdo the glue, just make sure that it's all got some. This is normal PVA tacky glue that I got from Hobbycraft. It's all I use for this anyway. Okay, so that's the glue. Here's the embossing powder that I've put into a little thingy. I'm going to tell you now quickly, it takes a little while to melt and get to the right stage, and this procedure needs to be, you need to melt it a couple of times for it to go evenly. Just in case you can't hear me over the tool. Right, I'm going to put the tool on. You have to be really careful that you don't burn yourself with these heat tools because they are really hot. And so in that case, you need to keep turning your bead. Don't just hold it still. Here we go. after you've done that and it's melted like that, while it's still warm, quickly put another layer of your embossing powder over it. Not too thick. Give it a tap and repeat what you just saw me do. I'm just going to do one more small coat. And there we have a really nice glossy bead. It needs to dry. Now it will stick a little bit on there, but I just get a palette knife or something when it's dry and nudge it off of there and clean off the embossing powder, obviously, that you've got onto it. And the same with the needle. And I usually just pop it across something like that until it's dry. Not too long, probably a minute or two, and then I try to get it off of there and put it onto something like this. Leave it over something like that. You can do a whole row and let it dry properly. And there you have it. And they can turn into this, you know, just put them on your bead pins and add other beads to them. That's a nice paper bead there. Some of them you can, so when I've done this stage on these sort of ovally type beads, which are the bits of paper that go triangular, after this stage of glazing and they're completely dry, the next day I will just pop them, the ends, in a little bit of paint. That's metallic paint, just to give them a different look. You can do so much with these, it's amazing. I absolutely love them. If you want to make more definite shape of bead and size of bead, there are plenty of other tutorials on YouTube that you can look up. Of course there is, and what I was just doing today was just demonstrating really how quickly and easy it is just to whip up a few of these for your junk journals and your charms and your boho beads and all sorts of other things that you can do with them. Okay, and there we go. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will be very grateful if you'd like to click the subscribe button too. I'll put the tool and link to Squeaker Chimp in the description box, along with the materials that I use. And there we have it. Really quick, easy way to make some paper beads out of scrap paper. Thanks for looking. Bye-bye.